Five, four,
La, la, la. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Beats and Bits. Here's our second episode. I have an awesome special guest with us today. Goes by the name Real Napalm. Everybody welcome Nathan Palmer here.
Thank you.
What's up, my guy?
What's up, bro?
Man, just trying to make it through, this all quarantine thing. Hopefully it's over here soon.
Man, listen, I think we about to open up here pretty soon. When they open up outside, I'm ready for it, baby.
I think we all are. So let's give everybody kind of a background, who you are, kind of where you came from, what kind of brings you to my little podcast here. And so let's start with, where you're from and yeah.
Well, I was born and raised in Elkhart, Indiana. A small town just a little bit east of South Bend, Indiana, where Notre Dame is. And then I went to school out near Chicago and spent a lot of time in Chicago. So I'm a Midwest boy for sure.
Gotta love the Midwest. I'm Kansas City born, as you know.
Yeah.
That's what's up. And so, back in Elkhart, you kind of did a lot of church music and stuff, didn't you?
Yep, I grew up in the church, man. My mom and dad were big into church. My dad was like on the trustee board. My mother was a choir director and sang in the choir herself. So they were very active in church, and they came from the South. So they grew up like in Southern Baptist churches where like you had to be active, and their family was big in the church. So me going to church kind of was like a everyday thing, but I really fell in love with like being at church, mainly because of the music. So, but definitely.
You really fell kind of in love with the drums, didn't you?
Yeah, man. 4 years old, bro. I was 4 years old. I started playing the drums. I just kind of walked up. Nobody was on the drums for a Sunday. I think our drummer was sick or something. And it was an older female that was playing the drums, and she was really dope. They called her Buffy. But she was sick or something, and I ended up just walking up and playing the drums. But the music director just kind of guided me through, and I was able to keep a beat. So they started like developing me and letting me play a little bit more. So that's kind of where I started at.
A little prodigy, we say, huh?
Yeah, something like it. I don't know. I think I was just bad and couldn't sit still. It was just like, oh, that looked like fun.
Well, that probably panned out for you a little. So
Yeah.
well, let's be real. Obviously, you didn't go straight into music. Your life kind of took not necessarily a bad turn per se, but you happened to be pretty damn good at something else. This little thing called football.
I was good at like all sports. It's just football was the best chance, I think.
And where did that take you?
It took me a lot farther than I thought, to be honest. Took me to the NFL. I was able to go from playing in high school. I got a scholarship to Northern Illinois, where I played 5 years. I ended up getting hurt my first year and redshirted. And thankfully, I kind of learned patience out of that because I had to watch like the guy I was recruited with. He played from the beginning, but I definitely benefited from having that 5th year. I was able to it's just being 23 playing with 18-year-olds,
Yep.
You're 22, 23 playing with 18-year-olds is kind of a different game. You're mentally different, your body's different, and I think that helped me go to the next level to where it taught me to like kind of be professional, like, and be the big guy, the senior, so the super senior. So
it also helps that you're just a little fast.
You want to tell them about that race?
I was just about to maybe bring it up. So, growing up, I played some sports. I was definitely no Division I athlete. I was no superstar, but I was pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I was fast. I not very many people were faster than me, and so
Yeah.
I think Napalm and I had a couple drinks, and we were up in Chicago
You
for
had a
a little
few of 'em,
music
baby.
trip, and I was like, you know what, I gotta ask if he played in the NFL. Let's see if I could have done it. Let's see
All
if
my
I
friends
could have
do
made
it.
it.
All my friends do it at some point. They get drunk,
You got to.
we get high, they be like, "Man, I bet I could beat you."
So,
Like, "You
long
sure?"
story short, I clocked my way down down the hallway, and oh wait, by the way, he gave me about a 20-step head start, and we make it about halfway down the hallway, and he is tearing past me. Obviously, does the pull up and looks at me, and has to embarrass me. Then decide to just tumble because I'm extremely uncoordinated now, apparently, and
Oh, man.
slid the rest of the hallway. So,
Oh.
long story short, he's fast.
And you had the little burn too, didn't you had a burn?
I don't know. I don't know what you're
No,
talking
you had a
about.
burn on your hip.
Hey, I'm an athlete. Yeah, okay, no, that was bad.
That was, man, that was a fun trip, man. Thank you for that trip, man. I
That
need
was that was fun. We had some good times with some good people. Shout outs to Todd B for letting us get in that studio. That was a
oh yeah.
blast. I love that the
Bro, it's been
vibe
a
he's got.
I didn't know it's been a lot of big artists in that studio too.
Wouldn't doubt it.
That's
Now
crazy.
not with Todd behind the realms in there,
Right, for real.
and of course Rita Lee. Can't
Shout
forget
out
to mention her,
Auntie Rita.
Auntie Rita. So from football, you were still doing some music. It still ended up obviously being your final passion, but you were still doing music. You were still kind of tweedling with it, doing it here and there, more just kind of for fun. But kind of when was the moment that you were like, hey, I need to just go do this full time. Like this is my dream. I want to talk to people. I want to, express my message and really go in this full time and put the amount of work that I did in the NFL into music.
Honestly, it's kind of when I got to that Super Bowl, I think. That was like
Which Super Bowl?
the when I was with the Broncos,
Okay.
versus Seattle when we got
Ooh,
smashed.
hopefully you don't have too many Denver fans in here on that
Yeah.
one.
Oh well, they be mad. I went to the Raiders, but um, I think that was like the first moment where it kind of was like, yo, I want something different out of life. I kind of got into the Super Bowl. I was happy to be there, very honored, felt kind of in a way lucky to be there because I, at first, like originally wasn't on the roster that season. And out of like unfortunate circumstances with the Dolphins, I ended up going with the Brown. Actually, I'll just tell everybody I ended up getting into it with the coach at the Dolphins right before Christmas, and they cut me on Christmas Eve, and on Christmas I ended up here and with the Broncos and ended up going the whole playoffs and playing in like the Super Bowl game, and I think even then it was kind of like, you know what, this like game is kind of not what I want. I've always wanted to do music. I always wanted to play music, and I felt like my focus was just kind of even in the Super Bowl. Like I was kind of in the studio more nights after practice. I was going to meet with labels and like label reps that I knew and A&Rs and stuff like that versus, doing all the Super Bowl stuff that the other teammates were doing. So
Right.
I think what solidified it was really just in the game instead of at halftime, instead of me going in and listening to the coach speak, I was out there watching Bruno. I was like really excited about watching Bruno, but watching him perform, I think that last song, You're Amazing Just the Way You Are, I think that was the moment. I think that's when I was like, yo, I kind of, this is the moment I want to live for. I'm here at the Super Bowl. I feel crazy because I'm not excited about going out here and catching a ball or watching my teammates score or cheering them on or doing anything like that. I'm really excited about Bruno and watching the Red Hot Chili Peppers come out, and no one else knows that they're about to come out. Like, like that got me pumped. So I think after that game, I kind of talked to my parents, and you know, I think they saw it, at that moment, they was like, "Man, you wasn't really excited about the game. You more excited about the music, son." So that's when I was like, "Yeah, I think I really want to try to figure out how to get out of football and do music full time." And since day one, my dad kind of was against it, but mom was always full support. So and from then on, I think it took me a couple years to kind of just be brave enough to be like, I'm gonna go start this journey.
A little technical difficulties there, sorry guys. But to pick up where we left off, so after your NFL experience, and you really decided that you were going to push towards music, you kind of went on to create a sound that you got credited for, or coined, excuse me, as
Rock and B.
rock and B. So give us a little inspiration of what inspired that, excuse me, that sound, and what leads you forward with that.
Honestly, it was just me wanting to kind of step out of the realm of R&B a little bit more. Like I felt boxed in to just doing traditional what R&B records were of today, and I felt like most of the artists that I liked, um,
Like who?
like Miguel, Frank Ocean, like Kings of Leon is one of my favorite bands of all time. I think you just put me on to one of my other new favorite bands, but
Boxer
Boxer
Rebellion.
Rebellion, yeah, they're hard. Um, but like you know, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, going back to my story, them being a favorite band of mine. I like Prince being a guy I study a lot, like a lot. Still just trying to figure his brain out when it came to music, but um, let alone the business side. But just music wise, just studying those people, they weren't traditional just R&B of what they were trying to make me. And I think in order for me to do it, I had to step out on something, and that was the first thing I landed on, was just rock and blues, because I just wanted to get away from like the rhythm aspects of it. I wanted to be outside the box for a second. Like I did a whole project where I was trying to do all kinds of records. So
Doing a little experimental phase, huh?
yeah.
I think you might have won a little award for one of those experimental phase projects. My
Yeah. Which one?
for
Oh yeah.
therapy, right?
Yeah, therapy. Therapy was um first project that I did that it was like conceptual. Like we had it from the beginning. Shout out to Art. But I took this idea, this concept, and I wanted to kind of give people where I was in life, but out of the league, I didn't really. People didn't know too much about me. They just know I liked to play the drums. I sang. I smiled a lot, and I played football. But like deep down inside, I was struggling with a lot. So I think therapy was my first way of kind of saying like, "Hey guys, I'm struggling," and out of that, um, I got to release a lot of things um, from just guess life in general, and then also find myself find my voice. I think through that project, the experimental phase. So just writing, finding what I wanted to say, finding who I was as a person, and I think that was just kind of tipping on the iceberg. Now it's like a whole little rabbit hole I'm diving into. So it didn't stop. I guess it just started there, but that was definitely the time I think finding my voice. That was the project that was instrumental. So, and it won like a whole year later. It was like up for some awards in Denver. So it confused me because I was scared of that project. Like I put it out and it was just kind of like, I don't think they'll get it. And, it ended up being one of the projects that got noticed. So.
That's got to be a cool feeling, knowing that the people kind of understand what you were really trying to speak, and
Yeah.
connecting with them, and knowing
Yeah.
that you do have the ability to connect with your listener is
Yeah.
got to be a cool feeling. So from the super structured lifestyle of the NFL that you
Mhm.
kind of came from, to going into, per se, a hardly any structure in the
No
music
structure
world.
at all.
There's barely any time frames. You have to set everything on your own. You have to set yourself to your own time
Yeah,
limits,
yeah.
releases, whatever it might be. What do you think was the toughest struggle you had between that, or do you think just having that hard structure from the NFL really benefited you coming into the music world, so you already have that structure? Or did you have other issues that really kind of came up after you made the switch from a structured
Um,
lifestyle to a lifestyle like this?
I think the structure um helped as far as I was more disciplined than the average person, put it that way. But I wasn't as disciplined as I needed to be, I think I found out once I got out of the NFL. And by that saying, there was nobody to hold me accountable for the days that I didn't feel like getting up. There was no fine.
No
There was
fines.
no, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's only the fine of life, honestly. It's like,
Right.
hey, if you don't get up and you don't get bust your butt, you're gonna lack later on. So
Hmm.
I think that was one of the things. Um, Also, not having an agent to kind of be there, that structure, like the agent kind of, he's got guys to worry about with football still. So we talk, but it wasn't every day to figure out, what's going on in my everyday life, things I have coming up, scheduling things. I was so bad at that, and then just having that person be there to help bail you out when you're forgetting about bills. And I mean, you know about this, bro. I'm so
Right.
horrible with that. So forgetting about bills, forgetting losing track, because all I was doing was like making music and studying plays. So I think that was kind of the first sign of me seeing that, okay, I kind of have to start to manage myself and like hold myself accountable.
Kind of
Um,
become your own CEO.
yeah, kind of become my own CEO. And it took to fall on hard times, really, to be like, all right, I want to change this because this isn't what I'm accustomed to. But when I'm looking in the mirror, the only person I can blame for these things is myself. So that's kind of where it had to get to, and then just understanding. Uh, Once I got into the music, also I was lucky having a body clock issue. Like, I was so scared of getting fined for missing meetings. I missed like one meeting, bro, and got one major fine in the league, and was like, yo, I don't want to miss a meeting again. So my body kind of naturally, no matter when I fall asleep, like, I'll wake up when the sun comes up. So I have to be like extremely tired or probably sick if I'm not waking up like at super early in the morning. So but I also do fall asleep at any moment. So, so
Always a catch there.
yeah, always a catch. So I think that helped too as well. Just having some kind of a regimen and a routine already from the league kind of helped too.
Already in place.
But yeah,
Keep a
I feel
schedule.
like I feel like I can tell when my body's getting out of shape, when I'm doing too much with bad eating, and then I can switch it up for a second and focus. And I think now it's just gotten to the point where I want to focus more on it. So
How important would you say your diet is, even now that you're out of the athletic world and even into the performing world? Obviously, we haven't
so
performed in a while, but
so important. Me being a cannabis smoker, like smoking weed all the time. Water. I never used to drink water in the NFL, and I kind of got away with it, only because I was in pretty good shape. But here, I don't run 6 miles a day sprinting. I'm not in the gym, 7 days a week like I was in the NFL, twice sometimes during the week. I'm not doing the extra workouts, busting, going beyond to put my body through the most physical tip top shape. So I think eating plays a big factor in it. I struggle with it still. Sometimes I mean, I don't know how long was I trying to get healthy, bro, around you.
today's the day.
Yeah, today's the day. I'm gonna stop today, but after today. So that used to be my thing. But it also speaks to discipline. They say, studies show that a man that switching his diet, if he can't switch his diet, he's not as disciplined as he needs to be successful. Um, and that's been a big thing, and struggling mentally too, as well as an artist. Just knowing that, I have to take care of my body because I'm pushing my body probably more hours than I was when I was playing football, and just running it around the clock,
And probably
constantly
pushing your mind just as much. I mean,
pushing my mind, mental
hmm
just as much. So just understanding those things, balancing that, taking time to meditate as well as like preparing my body too. And in the music industry is very stressful. So like it just it can take a toll on your body, habits, late night eating, all of that, barely sleeping, that all creeps up on you after a
It
while. So
does. And it'll really mess with your mental health.
yeah,
And I mean,
and that's what.
give your body the best chance, you know?
Yep, I done already banged this head around a couple times.
Yeah.
So adding this to it, we got to get me right. So
So obviously we've all had a lot of time locked in our houses, and we're both big music makers. So what have you kind of been doing during these times? I know you just dropped a project, Stoner Ave, under the Rare Form Music Group,
yeah,
kind of entity per se. Do you want to give a little background on that, on like the Rare Form and that whole thing, and then talk about the project a little that you just released, and then let's get into some your newer music and.
dope. Well, Rare Form is a collective of guys that we all lived in a house. At about 2 years ago, it started, and it started as like kind of a joke that ended up running into something deeper and meaning something to us. Out of a brotherhood, you know, we struggled out of that house. We figured out a lot about ourselves, but we also like made a lot of really good music just through the stories that we were able to share with each other. And so I always wanted to make a group project. I just didn't know what to do and how it represented. I wanted to make it something like the Wu-Tangs and the NWAs where it marks the time. And so we were already working on some songs. Um, and I think it just fit the times of us being in the house and what it represents by us being kind of in the struggle, but together, and a group of guys. Like it's hard to live in a house full of men, just especially young men, all age ranges from like 20 to I'm 30, so 31 now. So you do these things where I feel like Rare Form and Stoner Ave stood for that. It started with the rooster. I'm always the one being up. And like I try to always make music, so I go by the tag of Devon Mac or whatever. I'm probably not gonna say that. Just edit that out. People ain't supposed to find it out yet. But anyways,
The secret's
um,
out.
secrets out. Anyways, so as like Devon Mac, I wanted it to make it funny, also be political. I feel like there's a lot of things going on with our government that we weren't prepared for. So I kind of took my little stab in there too at that. Just because I feel like we're being led astray just from our government not being prepared, all for the top dollar. And I think that was the thing about it. Also taking my shot at what's really current right now with how women and men are making money out there with fans only. I think that is hilarious to me. So I just
Hey,
wanted to throw it in there. So you have that, but then also, you know, talking about the rooster being sick, just kind of stating the time and marking that time and when we did it. So um, that was where Stoner Ave started, and from tracks, Smoke was a year old. You know that.
yeah. I was so glad that dropped on this. I love that
Yeah,
song.
yeah. So I think it was time. Also, um, with the resurgence of marijuana being really big, back out here in Denver and everything. Flower being big, I felt like we wanted to be those guys that represent, you know, flower out here. It's hard to maintain flower, as you know, concentrates is very big in the Mile High and edibles. As shout out to Popeyes because you got that company. Um,
Yeah.
but just being big on flower, I like the the ritual of it all, rolling joints. Um, and just kind of the cipher that you get with passing it around and stuff. So that that was kind of where Smoke, the essence of it. I wanted to sound tribal. I wanted to sound ancestral, and I think Mojo just kind of walked in the studio and laid a verse down. He was like, "Oh man, what you doing on this? I like this hook, man. You mind if I try something?" And this kind of we embodied that in the record and just kind of left it as is. And we waited a year, and I was like, man, finally, we need to put this out. If we don't, it's gonna lose its magic, and I didn't want to do that. So
Yep.
that was that
Definitely one.
song.
That's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah,
We have
yep,
a couple records out. You just dropped Rule Breakers Part
yeah,
2 that
yes,
we took a lot of time.
Bro, that's like one of my favorite all-time records, bro.
I love the emotion. I mean, fucking what? Riley came in and just slayed the guitar on that shit.
Played that guitar, bro. Shout out to you on the beat and the mix. Can I tell them the original where it came from?
Sure, yeah. Like, I guess that'd be a fun story. We should drop that song anyways.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we definitely should figure something out for that. So we did a cover of Circles. You had reproduced a cover of Circles, and in the middle,
Surprisingly, I just surprised you with it.
Yeah, he surprised me with it, and it was like my favorite song. I wanted to do it in a show, and he nailed it. But I have a issue with always just singing stuff straight through. I kind of hear things, and I was like, hey man, what if we make this like a full song in the middle? Because we had done like a special breakdown part just for the band, and we were trying to get creative, and I was like, let's just make it a full song. And he kind of he made the beat and left me by myself. I think you went and played the video game for a second.
Probably.
And I think out of whatever I was going through at the time, I just shut the door, and I realized this was one of the first songs I didn't write in a long time.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Normally I jot down in my notes and everything, and I realized I didn't have any of the lyrics in my notes. So the first verse I recorded in that room that you're sitting in, there.
Right here. Little different color.
A little different color. A little different makeup too. It was nice though. That was the vibe, bro. It was a great aesthetic. But I recorded it in there, and I think this was before we had even moved in here, and you set up the studio here, and I did the second verse. And I even think you kind of was like, yeah, I'm a little iffy on the second verse. And it was my first time actually like having to accept someone being like, hey, I think that you could sing this a little better or do something vocally that I know you're capable of more. And I was like, I didn't want to hear it at first. I was like, man, fuck that. I was like, screw that, man.
Life of an artist.
Right. But shout out to you challenging me, because that I really like how the song turned out. And it's one of those songs that even performing it, it's so easy to go there. Just to zone out and go there, because it's just emotion. It was my emotion. So thank you for producing.
Hey, thank you, man. I think that was a great project.
One of my favorite ones. So.
Yeah, it's definitely out. It's streaming everywhere: Spotify, iTunes. Is it on Sound? It's on SoundCloud too, isn't it?
It's on SoundCloud. It's on iTunes.
So anywhere, I'll have all of our links and stuff down below. So definitely check all of that stuff out. I just want to thank you again, Napalm, for taking the time to do this with me today. I know it's obviously we don't have a ton going on in this quarantine, but hopefully it's not too long. But man, thank you so much. Definitely go check out his music, everybody. Real Napalm on all social media, I believe. Definitely check out his YouTube. He's got a bunch of awesome music videos. The Moon Rock video is one of my favorites. They just put up a little video snippet for Smoke, which had some cool shit in it too. That was trippy.
Shout out to Jacob over here.
Yep, Jacob, always making the cool content. So, but thanks, man. I really appreciate you.
I got to see your animated video.
Oh, we'll get there. You just performed it, so maybe it's time to release it.
Yeah. Cause that shit's hard.
But seriously, Napalm, thanks so much for coming by. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions. We'd love to hear them. And I hope you all have a great day.
Hell yeah.
I won't bend and break my rules again.